Welcome back to another Sophisticated Saturday where together we work through my to-do list and get things done around the house. And today's theme for Sophisticated Saturday, or at least one thing that I'm going to be doing, is making Hamantaschen cookies for the Jewish holiday Purim. I had somebody, I can't honestly remember if it was on Instagram or YouTube, but I was asking what they want to see more of, or maybe it was just a comment on a YouTube video. If you're watching this and this was you, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But somebody said that they wanted to see some more traditional Jewish recipes. And since Purim is coming up, I figured this was a great time to make Hamantaschen cookies. They are a triangular shaped cookie that has a filling in it. One of the really main traditional fillings is a poppy seed filling. I think I have a YouTube video where I did that maybe last year. I made a poppy seed filling for Hamantaschens. I'm trying a different recipe this time around, and I am doing apricot jam filling, which is also very traditional, and then I am doing a chia seed jam, which is just what I happen to have. Sometimes you'll see people get creative and do chocolate filling or Nutella filling. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. Basically, you can put whatever you want in it, but the Jewish holiday Purim is in the late winter, and it's a very extravagant celebration. It's celebrating the survival of the Jews when they were in Persia from Haman, and the reason that we make Hamantaschens is Haman apparently wore a three-pointed hat, kind of like a triangle. So the cookies are meant to look like Haman's hat. This dough needs to chill for a while in the refrigerator, and I didn't even do it the full amount of time that the recipe suggested, and it got really hard to work with, which I'll talk about in a little bit later when we pop it out of the refrigerator. In the meantime, let's get some other stuff done around the house, and I'm going to pop into my office because I have a label order that I need to fill. As I'm getting near the end of maternity leave here, I'm starting to think about my to-do list and my regular schedule again, so I'd love to share more details on that, probably, in April or May as I get back into things. Before having a baby, I was on a really good cleaning routine where I had specific days where I was doing specific tasks, and I just have so many things floating in my head right now that I need to continuously do on a week-by-week basis, whether it's for my small business or for my home or for me personally, things like working out maybe. And for me, it helps to have that all calendared and on a to-do list, on a weekly checklist, monthly checklist, so I don't have to keep all of that information in my head. One thing that comes around that I need to keep doing is my baby book. I'm trying to do monthly updates for every month that Henry turns another month older. So having that as a reminder would be really helpful so I don't forget. And then if I'm writing information, it's as fresh as possible in my mind. Luckily, we are done with Owens. These baby books I have been doing from the beginning of pregnancy every 2 weeks through the first year of babyhood. And then I even have a toddler book where for the second year of life, you update every month as well. And then it's every year thereafter. So on Owens, I'm finally on a year-by-year schedule. So that slowed down a little bit. But at one point when I was pregnant, doing updates every 2 weeks, and Owen was still under 2 years old, I was doing monthly updates for him. It was a lot of baby book work, but I'm hoping it'll be worth it and my kids will appreciate it when they're older. And I love that that was a triple multitasking moment. The cookies were chilling in the refrigerator, the labels were printing on my Cricut machine, and I was working on my baby book at the same time. That is true multitasking in the best sense possible because 2 of the tasks really didn't need my attention and 1 did. And then once the labels were done, you saw that I was able to pull them off, switch my focus from the baby book and back to the labels so I can get those in an envelope, write a little note to the person who purchased it, thanking them for supporting my small business, package it up, and send it off. Speaking of planning and heading towards the end of maternity leave, I'm really starting to look ahead and plan. I'm starting to film some videos in advance. This is the calendar that I'm using this year, and I like to highlight all of the spots where I have YouTube videos. The blue color are my sophisticated organization videos, and then the pink color is my sophisticated motherhood videos. So I have 3 videos coming out a week. And that is what I was just planning there, all of the videos that I want to come out. So I'm writing in the sophisticated Saturday videos, starting to make themes for those, as I've mentioned before. I'm also writing on the side of the calendar each week what the theme is for the sophisticated declutter, because we're still decluttering our entire home. So I like to make sure my YouTube content and my Instagram content, and of course what I'm doing at home, all revolves around what we're focusing on that week. After I got some good planning done, I went down to the basement to pick up toys. We encourage Owen to clean up his toys before he moves on to the next thing, but hey, he's a 2-year-old and that doesn't always happen, and it doesn't take me that long to pick it up, and I know that it will help him when he comes back down here play a little bit more independently when he's not so overwhelmed by all of his toys all over the floor. I don't know what happened with this train track. At one point, I had built this intricate path where everything connected, and then I realized that it's not connecting anymore. I tried for a moment there to find the pieces to bring it all together, but just kind of gave up. That's something I'll do when Owen and I decide to play with it next time together. I've gotten all those toys picked up on the first half of the basement, we'll call it. Then the back half was a little bit of his toys, but also some of my stuff. If you saw on Instagram, I got some new shelves to add to this unit, and I am doing some rearranging. That's why I have our tool set there and the ladder and a shelf on the floor. I didn't take a lot of time to fully organize it. For now, I'm just getting those shelves in, and I will address that a little bit later. I didn't really have time to do it, but with extra shelves there, I was able to take out some of the shelf risers I had in there and other plastic type organizers, and I can put those away. I have 2 drawers here which are for all of my miscellaneous organizing supplies. Because I like rearranging things in my house, I'm constantly finding new things to organize. These 2 drawers are all the things that are not in use right now, and when I have a new organizing project, it's almost like I can come here and shop my stash first before I go out and buy something and see if I already have an organizer that I can use and take advantage of. Some of these were things from my apartment that I maybe haven't found a home for yet, but could theoretically find a home for. Some of them are products that were sent to me. Others I've purchased myself and have just rearranged and they didn't work out in a specific space. But I am happy that I hold on to these things because I do go into this drawer quite often and use it and use the products in here. If there's something that's really never getting used, then I will declutter it. It used to be, I don't know, maybe 4 drawers plus a shelf worth of stuff when we first moved to the house, and I had a bunch of leftover stuff from the apartment that didn't work. I did part with plenty of it, but I do like having these 2 drawers. This morning I washed Henry's laundry, so I am in his room and going to fold a lot of it. I'll put some of it away in his dresser here in his nursery. He's still not sleeping in here. This room gets very little use. I have that tummy time mat there, so sometimes I'll let him play on there if he's awake, and I will go through his laundry there or just kind of use it as a change of scenery. But he's still sleeping in our room, so I will bring some of this clothing over to our bedroom because there are plenty of changes that still are happening in the middle of the night. Burp cloths need to be over there, some changing pads that we can put on top of our bed so the bed doesn't get messy, or at least we try to avoid it getting messy. Sometimes it's inevitable. But there's no method to the madness here in terms of how many outfits I put over there versus how many I keep in here. I just kind of eyeball it, and if I need to bring more over from his dresser into our bedroom or vice versa, then I'll do that. Also in this load of laundry, there was quite a bit of clothing and swaddles that he's outgrown. He's really past that newborn stage, so anything that's newborn clothing or newborn size swaddles really aren't fitting him anymore. There's a couple of newborn clothing items that still do fit him. Even some 0 to 3 stuff. The Old Navy zipper sleepers, which we really like, they're inexpensive. They have double zippers. They are great. They run a little bit small, so the 0 to 3, he's even moving up to 3 to 6 in those. So I brought out my 2 small bin that I keep in his closet. Once that is actually full, although it is getting pretty full right now, I will transfer it out into a larger storage bin that is labeled for whatever size that is. And this is the cart in our bedroom that I was talking about, so I'm loading that stuff up before heading back into Henry's nursery, and I'm going to do some washing of the play mats here. I have this one upstairs that I was just talking about. Tummy time means a lot of spit up, and it's really easy to wash both of these. You just have to take the arches off. The one that we have downstairs is our favorite. It's from Love Every, and that one has a few inserts of cards and mirrors, so I made sure to pull those out before putting them into the wash. Okay, now the dough is done. I pulled it out of the refrigerator. I was trying to stay calm as I first was rolling this out, and then you'll see I was realizing how hard it was. I was trying to roll with my forearms, throw my body weight into a little bit, but it was just so hard, and it was meant to be hard because the trickiest part of these cookies is the folding and making sure they don't lose their shape and the filling doesn't seep out. So having it be this cold is pretty important. And that was a critical mistake that I made because Henry did wake up halfway through this. And so the dough was able to get to room temperature a lot more. And I think it had an impact on its bake quite a bit. So you'll see I'm rolling this for what feels like absolutely ever. I am trying to get it as thin as possible, and this rolling pin does really help with that. It has little adjustable ends that you can put on it that have the measurement. So if you have a recipe that says roll something to 1/8 of an inch thick, you can just put the 1/8 of an inch tools on either side and roll until you can't roll anymore, and it'll be exactly 1/8 of an inch thick. My hands were exhausted at this point. I finally thought it was pretty much done, so I grabbed a drinking glass. I'm just using that as a cookie cutter here. I have shaped cookie cutters, but I surprisingly do not have a circle cookie cutter, so a glass works just fine. And I am going to grab the scraps away, pull it apart, and then you should put about a teaspoon of the filling in the center of each cookie before folding it. So I started with this apricot jam. I like this one. I found it at Sprouts. I don't know if you have a Sprouts near you, but there is no sugar added to this jam. There's a bunch of different flavors. I really like the raspberry one. So I'm trying to keep it a little bit healthier. And once I got all of the jam in the middle, I got to folding. And I want to mention there are 2 different ways to fold Hamantaschen cookies. There's 2 different techniques. So the first 2, I'm showing you the folding method. It's almost like if you're folding a box where the ends kind of go over each other. For each flap, one of the sides should be over one side and one should be under, if that makes sense. So it makes like a little bit of a pinwheel folding. The other method is a pinch, where you just bring all of the corners together and pinch tightly and try and seal the cookie that way. Sometimes I think that one's a little bit more effective, but I don't like the look of that one as much. I think the folding method looks a lot prettier. So I got those in the oven, and you'll see this is what I was talking about. I had to take a break there because Henry was awake, so he is joining me for the second half of Hamantaschen making, and the dough is so much softer than it should be right now. But that's okay, we're making it work, and these last few I've been filling with the chia seed jam. This is called, I think it's called Chia Smash. Again, comes in a bunch of different flavors, and it is fresh fruit and chia seeds. Again, no added sugars, which I really like. I like putting these things on my yogurt a lot. Sometimes I just buy plain yogurt, and then we'll add something like this chia smash on top. I would not recommend folding Hamantaschens one-handed. It was pretty difficult, but hey, I'm used to doing a lot of things one-handed at this point. And I was so close to getting these done. I just wanted to finish folding them, get them in the oven, and then Henry and I could hang out while they bake. Okay, so here is the final plate of cookies. I think the first batch I maybe cooked a little bit too long. They're pretty dark on the bottoms. And then the second batch I did with that raspberry chia jam. They seem a little bit better, not quite as dark. But I wanted to show you too what the pinched version looks like. So like here's a folded one. And then the pinched one. I think the folded one looks way better, but I still have not mastered these. I might still keep trying again with a different recipe, or try and make sure they're actually cooled properly, but they taste delicious, so that's kind of all that matters, and they're fun and they celebrate Purim. So I'm gonna go enjoy some cookies, and we'll keep doing the Sophisticated Saturday. Last but not least, it's been a while since I've washed my makeup brushes. I'm not necessarily wearing makeup every day on maternity leave, so they don't get as much use as usual, but still, I need to make sure I'm washing them. They harbor so much bacteria, which is another thing I need to keep on my schedule and keep track of. It's really just making me think that I need to get all of that stuff in order again and get back to reality a little bit. But that is kind of it for today's video. I'm going to keep washing these makeup brushes with my baby soap. I want to thank you for joining me for another Sophisticated Saturday. I hope you are having a wonderful, productive weekend, and until next time, I will see you all later.